What's up, guys? This is Zambia Esports Racing Commissioner Chibe Kapala Jr. with another Dirt Rally tutorial. So today we'll be focusing on a lot of things: weight transfer, camber, um, gear shifting, and just an overall tactic that I use to get around this track. Today I'm using a Subaru S14, similar to the ones we run in Group B of the Zambia Esports Rally Championship. And this is, in fact, the next location we'll be running. Monaro, Australia, a very tricky rally. Uphill, downhill, name it. You know, it's a very tricky one, filled with not smooth and hard gravel and a lot of tarmac as well. So parts of the section has tarmac. You will be running we'll be running off-road tires, so once you get on the tarmac it's quite difficult. Anyway, not to waste too much time, let me get right to the tutorial and see some of the tips I can give to everybody who's gonna watch this.
50, 6 left 30, turn square right.
So step one, setting the car. We're back again with another thing I mentioned in the last video. Where you set your car is very important because if you notice, if you set your car on the wrong side of the road, you might have issues correcting the turn. So this is not only about car setting. On this part of the track, there's what we call adverse camber. Adverse camber is a camber that points away from the turn. So as you get into the turn, the car will start to drift away from the turn. So these are called slow corners or slow turns. What you have to do is you set your car properly, be on the proper side of the road. If you notice, I am sitting on the left side of the road. The turn is on the right side. So I want to put my car's nose or tires on the apex of that corner on the right, to the right. Where that poster is, that's where my eyes are. So my target is set as close as possible to the poster. The grass over there is my apex. So I know that this is an adverse camber turn, and as I get into it, I will lose a lot of traction and the car will be leaving the corner. So these are turns which you have to be a little bit precise. You have to take as easy as possible. It's very fun to slide in them, but if you slide too much, you will go wide. And then here we have what they call positive camber. So in these situations, now this is a fast turn. Here I can keep the power and just turn through the corner and keep as much handbrake or clutch, whatever keeps your car steady in this scenario. So it is different from, it is the opposite of the adverse turn, because this one, the turn is pointing towards the corner. So you're likely to find yourself hitting these banks if you're not careful.
Into 4 left. Into 5 right. Into 4 left, don't cut.
Well, back here, so this part of the section is a very tricky section. Here's where I now left foot brake as much as possible. So there's two braking techniques I can give you. There's straight line braking and left foot braking. Left foot braking doesn't mean just braking with your left foot. It means you're braking with your left foot but keeping a certain amount of power at the same time. So I don't want to lose too much time in these tights. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep setting my car, make sure I'm on the perfect side of the road, and I'm gonna keep my foot on the left, on the brake and the gas at the same time, but not maxing, just creating a perfect balance in order for me to keep a perfect weight transfer.
Into 3 right, tightens. Into 5 left long, tightens 4. Into 4 right of a crest long, tightens.
This part of the section is very tricky. If you cannot see what's on the other side of a small hill or a jump, the advice I give is always to brake. So on this part of the track, setting your car is very important. I could go flat out to try and create time, but I might end up on the barricade. What I'm going to do in this scenario is I'm going to brake because I can't see what's on the other side, and I'm going to set the car to leave the turn perfectly so that I can max out all the way through the tarmac and onto the bridge. So this is a tactic I would advise anybody who finds himself on this turn just slow down, set your car. Once you set your car, you're able to go flat out all the way onto the tarmac and above the bridge.
80, gravel, flat middle of a jump, 80, grid and 3 right long.
After the jump, tackling that jump, it's a very fun jump and it's very flat out. What I do in this scenario is I tap off immediately after I get off the jump. I'm flat out all the way and I tap off and I start looking for where to set the car. All in due time because everything moves so fast. So here I cannot see what's on the other side of the turn. These are positive camber turns, so I'll be drawn to the inside of the corner and all I have to do is set the car.
Into 3 left long, tightens, 30. Crest and jump through narrow gate. Into 4 right long, opens, 80.
This part is also another tricky part of the turn, so here's where I'm going to advise on gear changes. On flat out straights, I am red lighting the car, I am shifting at full throttle. In tights, I'm shifting very fast, my gear shifts are very quick. So on this part of the track, I will advise to shift, max out the car. That's what
Flat middle of a very long crest, 50, 6 right, 80, 6 right of a long crest, tightens, into 5 left long, tightens of a crest, into 5 right of a crest, into 6 left long, into caution, 5 right of a crest, into don't cut 2 left, tightens narrow.
On this part of the section it gets very tricky. So at this 2 left we have several beacons and coins and several things that might disturb you. So if you notice, there are those white mini poles over there. They don't look like much, but they are very dangerous. I would advise in this scenario not to touch them by any means necessary because they can cost you a lot of time, they can give you a puncture or completely derail your car off road.
Into 2 left tightens. Into 3 right.
We're back on the hill. So racing in hills is very difficult, but I think the most important thing is understanding what we discussed in the beginning, that's camber. There's various amounts of cambers because the car is turning from left to right, so you're switching from adverse to positive to adverse to positive. But understanding which camber you're driving on is very important because here I know that if I'm sitting on this type of turn, we have what they call adverse camber. If I make any mistake, the car will swift off the hill. So understanding that is my first technique, and I know that okay, this camber is adverse, which means this is a slow turn. It's a slow left or left 2. It's a very slow turn, so I have to set the car, go slow in, and I leave fast out.
Flat middle of a jump, 30, 4 right long, opens into 6 left, opens of a crest, caution, 30, 1 left, tightens, don't cut.
Here we're back in. This is a turn with positive camber. I know that it's going to be drawing me towards the inside of the turn. I want to keep my car towards the apex, but I don't want to go in too much because I might end up clipping a pole at the exit of the turn. So I want to set the car as soon as possible so I can get out of the turn, and that is technically the secret to these turns. You want to set your car in. It's not always about how fast you go in the turn. Sometimes you make sacrifices. You go slow certain sections. So at this part I sacrificed these 2 turns. There's a left 1 here and there should be like a right 3. I went in slow so I could power off all the way around the right 3.
Into 6 right of a crest. Into 3 left. Into 5 right long of a crest. Tightens 3.
So we have a 5 right. I sacrificed those turns so I can power off.
Into 5 left. 30. Crest. Into 4 left long. Into 4 right
Switching
long.
from camber to
Opens.
camber.
Straight of a junction. Into 4 left. Tightens of a crest. Into 5 right. 6 left, 30, keep left of a jump into 6.
So here in such sections, when I'm in the trees or in the bushes as we call them, I'm shifting very quick. I'm not red lighting too much. I'm because this car is a sequential box car and it has turbo, I'm able to shift as fast as possible and get out of this section. On straights is when I'm able to red light and max out, because if you maintain red light in the car in these tricky sections, after some time you start to notice your gearbox may have issues. So perfect shifts here and quick shifts are very important.
Into keep middle of a crest, into 3 right long, tightens of a crest.
Same goes here, so positive camber here. The turn is forcing me towards the inside of the corner and these trees are very deadly. So what I want to do is I want to set the car perfectly and get out of the turn as soon as possible.
5 right, middle of a crest 40, 3 left of a crest, extra long 50. 5 right of a crest to keep middle of a jump.
On this side we go back to the same rules. I cannot see what's on the other side. With a lot of practice, some people will just go flat out and jump and pray the car lands back on the track. I wouldn't advise that. Another secret I use mostly in racing, which gives me some top times, is that I know when to go fast and when to slow down. I think that's a very important technique that everybody needs to know. Parts of the sections you don't always have to go flat out. Sacrifice a few turns to make the perfect time. There's major advantages to having the cleanest run possible. So here what I'm going to do is, I cannot see what's on the other side, but I've heard what the navigator said. I'm listening to the notes and I'm going to follow through. I will get to the top of that hill, set the car so I could go fast downhill.
Slow 6 right of a crest into 1 left. Into 2 right long, tighten square.
This is a very tricky part of this section and this stage. So we're back here with these poles. What you don't want to do at all times is hit any of these poles. Do not hit these poles. They could throw you off the road. So I'm gonna try and keep my car very steady, still following the same rules of left tire on the apex, right tire on the other apex, and left power through. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to avoid these beacons, I could call them, and try to just go slow in and fast out.
Into 1 left long, tightens. 60 over finish, into 6 right of a crest.
So as I approached those, you could notice there was different road camber going from positive to adverse. That should be the end. So very short section that was, and a few things that weren't tackled in the last video have been tackled here. Hopefully this tutorial will be seen by some of the people who are participating in the Group E Championship and will be using this car and other cars similar like this. And yeah, that's the end of our tutorial video for today.